what we do saves lives, and we never intended it. We never intended to have a box of tissues in our training equipment because it just shifts people's world.
Hi, I'm Keenan Williams with another edition of the Social Impact Podcast, where we speak about societal norms and challenge them. Remember to subscribe to our podcast on the platform you are listening from and to like and share these life-changing stories. Now, I don't know if you've ever wondered why you're here. I'm not speaking about where you may be finding yourself right now, but why are you here? Why have you been created? Well, according to lifestyle coach Sean Collard, finding your why is as easy as it sounds, but we often make things difficult for ourselves. He told me that to find your why, you need to be tsunami compliant.
It's as easy as you know the effort that you put into it, and obviously the more effort and thought you put in, eventually it pops. And we go to the question where I say to you, and you can remember this question is, are you tsunami compliant?
Yes, explain that to us.
Well, tsunami compliant was something that came to me once where I thought and this is what I say to people, so let's say if we were going, I would say to you, so Keenan, if a tsunami came through your life when you were asleep tonight, and it took everything that defines you away. So there's no more buildings, there's no more electronics, there's no more banks, there's no more churches, there's no more books, there's no more banks to figure out who's got the money, or any hospitals to see who's insane, and any prisons to determine who's the convict. There's absolutely everything's gone. Your family's gone. Everything that defines you is gone. And then who are you in the morning? And that would be the terrifying question, because people will take a moment and then they go, I'm nothing. And then that couldn't be further from the truth, because you have a purpose. You have something to add to this world, and you've got to find what it is, which isn't defined by what you do. So what I say is we're defined by purpose, not position. So my hand is what would represent my purpose. And then I would put various gloves on my hand. So if I want to be a fireman, then I wear a fireman's glove. If I want to be a guy who works with chemicals, then I wear a rubber glove. But I don't wear a rubber glove when I'm trying to put out a fire, and I don't wear a fireman's glove when I'm playing with chemicals. So the gloves I put on are just platforms that I would use to fulfill my why. So to find your why, the first question would be, if you could wake up in the morning and you could be absolutely anything, no learning curve. If it's to fly helicopters, you just wake up in the morning and then all of a sudden you can fly a helicopter. It doesn't matter what the helicopter is. And you can fly, just flick all the switches and off you go. If you're going to dance, you can dance like Fred Astaire, Ginger Rogers, all in one. And you need to pick, and we normally say pick about 5 things, and then the 5 things you would like to be. Some people would say, I'm a singer. And then once you've defined something, and that's normally kind of, we spend time and we make that a quick question, and they come up with that answer, and then I say to them, so let's pick something. Let's say somebody says they want to be a dancer. So I say, okay, brilliant. Now picture this. You've danced on every stage in the world. There are dance moves that you can do that nobody else can do. They've never seen it before. The way that you flow is just angelic, and sometimes it's just messy, but you are that person. You've danced on every stage you've been to, every country in the world. Everyone's got your DVDs. You're absolutely viral on the internet. You've done absolutely, you own the best house that you could ever have. It's not necessarily the most expensive house, but it's your house. Those doorknobs, when you touch them, they weren't bought because they were expensive or they were cheap. They just your doorknobs. So those are the ones that you chose. You've got your car. You've been all over the world. You've gone and dived with the dolphins, and you've got the T-shirt. And then all of a sudden, there's a knock at your door. And you're going to open the door, and there I stand, and I say, okay, Keenan, you have 40 years left to live. You can only do one thing. Failure is not an option. You cannot fail. And finances, you can have as much as you want. You don't have to worry about it. All your kids are through school. You're married to the lady of your dreams. You have it all. What one thing would you do for the rest of your life?
Sure.
And then you'd say, I'll dance. And I'll say, no, but you've been there, done that. you've achieved it. And then people suddenly realize that, hold on a second, my true meaning in life, the thing that I really want to do to add value to this world is not dancing. It's what am I achieving through the dancing. And that's all of a sudden where people now come to the place and going, hold on a second, why am I here? If we were going to rebuild the world after tsunami, what is it that you bring to the table that kind of transcends your job, your car, your house? Because that's the crazy thing is we go through tsunamis in our lives where I say to people, his life doesn't get better. Never will.
Sean tells me that your why and your purpose complement one another, and the one can't exist without the other. He also says that you are who you are before you do it.
Your why is the thing that answers why have I been through what I've been through? Why have I had a heart transplant? What is it that I was doing before I have a heart transplant? What is it that I'm doing after I have a heart transplant? What do I have before I'm a millionaire? Who am I after a millionaire? So I do a lot of things. I'm a lifestyle coach. I'm a gamer. I'm a father. I'm a husband. I'm an actor, public speaker. I have all these things. But what happens if I start losing those things? What happens if I'm a rugby player and I hurt my leg and I'm never able to play rugby again? I spoke to a very famous Springbok rugby player, and I said to him, I said, what happens if you can't play rugby tomorrow morning? He said, Sean, the whole team lives in that fear because that's what defines me. So I said to him, and this is what I tell everybody, is you are who you are before you do it, not because you do it. So you have to look at yourself in the mirror and accept yourself for who you are, not for who you should be. Then when you find out what your why is, who you are, then you start working on what you could be. Then we move into the next phase where I say to you, okay, now success is knowing your why, number one. Number two, doing it to the best of your ability. So if you have to educate, relocate, if you have to be in a different country, change your friends, that's the best of your ability. And then you have to help others along your way. And you are the hero of your story. It's not to help others along their way. It's your story. Every child, when they are born, is a story that lies within them. And that's why I think, Keenan, we ask the question is that we battle so much. It's because the world takes our identity away. There's a time that every single one of us at that moment where we feel we own the world and everybody's just renting it from us.
But surrounding ourselves with the wrong people can often influence how we find our why. In seeking for our why, we need to get to an understanding that the mark you leave behind can lead others to their success and them finding their why as well.
And we start to believe the people around us that, we must just fit in and conform and don't say that and don't get overexcited or those are stupid questions. And I was speaking to a guy yesterday who lost his mom. And she died of cancer. And I just said to him, I said, you've, in that vulnerable place, this is where you start to ask the questions and you start to question everything, And I said to him, you've lived a life where you sit in conversations where you are not alone, but you're really lonely because people don't think like you. They don't see what you see. They don't understand. And you start a conversation and people kind of change it. And they won't even bother to listen, and you just kind of lay it all down and say, maybe I'm just seeing things because nobody else sees it. But that's the point. It's a thing that drives you because every single person before they die, they want to go, did I leave something behind? Are people actually going to miss me when I die? Did I leave some value in this world? And that's where you leave your mark. But knowing your why, it decides what job you do, decides when you wake up, your friends, the country that you live in, the books you read, the movies that you watch, the things you think of, the places that you go, all feed your why. So in success now, if you listen to that formula, if you know your why, and seriously you're trying to do it with the best of your ability, and you're helping others while you're doing it, because being the hero of your story, you're inspiring others to be fulfilling theirs. And it's not about you, it is actually about others. You are immediately successful. Right here and now, as soon as you know your why, you go to bed every night going, yeah, that was tough, but it was worth it, and I can't wait until tomorrow.
So we have been talking about finding your why, but why is it important? Do we really need to find our why? Well, Sean says finding your why can add value to your life and give you reason to get up in the morning.
I'm having this conversation because of what I've learned in my life and what I've seen others and what the world has taught me. And I have been coaching people for a very long time, for let's say about 27 years plus. And I finally got to the place, even the guys that I've been sitting with for years and years and years, helping them in their businesses and helping them grow and in their personal lives. And I start off and I say, before we go anywhere, we're finding your why. Because when you know your why, it gives you your value. It really, really defines you. It sets you apart. It gives you a sense of belonging, a sense of self-worth, and a sense of value. And you said it very wise. I don't know who's been teaching you that, but the way you see yourself is the way you're going to treat others. So if I know I have value, I'm going to treat you with value. So your conversations change, your needs in life change. That having, for me, if you want to fulfill your why and you need a BMW, let's say X5, then if that is going to serve your why, then do what you need to do to achieve owning the X5 so it can be a tool to help you achieve what you need to achieve. So all of a sudden, everything has meaning. I had a friend phone me one day and he said, please drive my car. He bought a brand new BMW, works from home in a house on a mountain, and his car sits in the garage. He said he spent how many years trying to get this beautiful car, now it just sits there. And can you please drive it because I need it to have some value in it. So we tend to chase the wrong things, and when we get there, that famous saying, the destination syndrome, you go, oh my gosh, I've literally climbed the ladder to success, got to the top, and I'm on the wrong building. So your why defines everything that you do.
And I think when it comes to things like that, especially in life, I can definitely attest to it and say that before I found my why, I was very stressed out about where should I be in life? What should I be doing? Is this career really for me? Like chasing after the money, chasing after the job. But after I found my why, it feels like I'm de-stressed. Yes, I still have stressful moments because it's life. But as you said earlier, life doesn't get better. You get better at doing life. So how can someone who finds their why, especially somebody who might have come out of a abusive or a hurt relationship, bullied, assaulted, and they have put up walls and masks around themselves, how can finding the why be a way of finding healing as well?
Well, the nice thing is in that process, the saying, hurting people hurt people.
Mm-hmm.
So
love it.
I would first, and love people love people. So I would neutralize whatever's been done to a person first is saying, listen, it was never right. If I was there, I would have defended you. But the reason why you were treated that way is that person was a hurting person, and all they're going to give you is hurt. Unless they are loved, you're not going to receive it irrespective of their title. So with that understanding, is hurting people hurt people, loved people love people. The only way that you're going to have your heart healed is to be loved.
Mm-hmm.
And, when we do the training, I use a mirror. That's 10 times magnification. And you look at yourself in the mirror, and you've got to say, hi, Sean, I'm really pleased to meet you. We need to get to know one another, and I love you lots, because understanding why you are where you are in your life and what happened to you and it wasn't your fault gives you a new beginning and saying, okay, now this person in the mirror, why am I here? I need to love me. So there's a process where people learn to love the person in the mirror, irrespective of what's done to them, is we will turn around whatever scars they carry is going to be that advantage to give them credibility of who they are. The fact that they've made it so far, the fact that they've overcome that, the fact that they still stand and breathe just means that there's something for them to fulfill. And that, up to now, is your value. That gives you your worth to push forward and make things happen. So when people say, what do you know? You can say, well, actually, let me tell you, I do know. So it's just a complete transformation that helps you understand that we have an obligation to fulfill our why, because everything that you've put together in your life, doesn't matter how old you are, whether you were 15 or you're 55 or 85, you are a person that has all the ability to touch a life, to change their world.
Sean shared with me the story of one young 24-year-old woman who found her why, and finding her why ultimately saved her life.
By me fulfilling my why, it's put me in a place where we get hired by corporate companies to help people learn how to relate to one another, how to be servant leaders, how to communicate, which is a credible thing that we just discovered, and then teamwork. And one of the things is relationships. In relationships, you got to learn to love. And one of the questions is, how do people persevere under pressure? And what we talk about is you have this emotional tank. And being an emotional tank is, good things require emotions, bad things. So if you win R1 million, you need emotions. If you lose somebody in life, you need emotions to be able to go through that experience. And if your emotional tank is not full, you go through processes that things drain you as an individual, and you go through stress, you go through a depression, and then you end up going into a nervous breakdown. And this whole process is what leads people to give up or to commit suicide. And that's why we say, oh, that's the last person I would think. And this young girl is in our training, and we're teaching people on how they need to keep their emotional tank full, because they're not going to succeed. And the weirdest thing is, what we do saves lives, and we never intended it. We never intended to have a box of tissues in our training equipment, because it just shifts people's worlds. And in this experience, the most beautiful young girl in the group, she's about 24 years old. Everybody loves her. All the ladies are mothers, and all the fathers, all the men are fathers, and she's got this incredible personality, and she's laughing. And all of a sudden, during break, she comes to my wife and she says, I'm about to commit suicide. I just have no more energy to do anything. And I just realized my emotional tank is empty. And happy to say, with crazy stuff, she had to go watch a movie, she had to go sit in the park with friends that don't take from her emotionally. And it was in February and September, and she's still alive, and she's still having an incredible amount of time and fun. And nobody around her believed that she was that one. We didn't realize it. But by me fulfilling my why in my life and being the best me that I could be, and just trusting that, changes the world. In fact, it rescues people.
So take the time to get to know who you are and why you're here. Get to be comfortable in your own skin, accept the scars and the battle injuries of the past, and learn to love yourself and find out what your passion is and never let it go. But most importantly, find your why. And when you do, with that value added to your life, remember to add it to the lives of others as well. That's it from the Social Impact Podcast for this week. Catch us again next week, and don't forget to subscribe, like, and share these life-changing episodes with your friends and family. From myself, Keenan Williams, till next time, it's love to the family. Bye-bye.